How does it work? The whole 12-step thing? And is it a process that could help you even if you don't have an alcohol or drug problem?
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope, open my eyes to see the world through different eyes, revealing your light, restoring hope.
Welcome. It is the 29th day of June in the Lord's year 2015. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is Recovery Monday, brought to you by the good folks at Powell CDC, 263-2424. 263-2424. Ryan will put that up on the screen if you're listening on the radio, on The Truth 99.3. We sure appreciate you being here today. I know there's lots of things you could choose to listen at this time of day, but you've chosen us, and maybe it's a divine intervention. Perhaps something will be said today that I call a nugget of wisdom, something that God wanted you to hear, but he isn't going to tell you because he needs you to listen to other people and to come alongside other people and trust in them, trust in his presence within them. And therefore, you're here, and we sure appreciate you being here. This is called Restoring Hope Live, and it's Recovery Monday with Powell CDC. All right, let me tell you who the players are. First of all, Ryan's back from vacation, and he trimmed his beard. Did your mother make you trim your beard? Is that why? No? It was your decision. Oh, okay. So Ryan's back, although Maddie did a great job last week. Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat, watching the chat is here. If you log on to webcast1live.com, you can certainly chat with us, or you can call 244-0077. That's 515-244-0077. Also, Lila Stafford, who is the chairman of the board of Unity Point. And she takes her time to come in and spend time with us to talk about, I imagine your favorite subject is now your granddaughter.
Of course, I can talk about her all day long.
So this would be your second favorite subject then.
Yeah.
And Lila is a addiction counselor at Powell CDC. Now, we have Tracy K with us, and we've introduced Tracy K to you before. Tracy is one of our team members here at webcast1live.com and at 99.3 KTIA. What's your title again?
Well, I think we downgraded me from queen to just manager.
Yeah, we were going to make you queen of something.
I was business relationship queen.
Yes, which you really are. You're good at that.
I am a queen.
But we were just afraid that the whole queen thing might, throw some people off, especially men.
Not so humble.
And so Tracy wanted to learn about recovery. Tracy does not have an issue with alcohol or drugs. Her husband doesn't have. Maybe somebody in your life does, but nobody close. You just wanted to learn about it. And so today I took Tracy to her very first 12-step meeting. She had never been to one before. And so I thought we'd bring her on and talk about her views and thoughts. And also we would work through Chapter 5 of the big book, the blue book of the 12 steps. And we would talk to you about what it says and how it works. Now, you went to your first meeting today. What did you think? There was, let me think, there was probably 25 people in this meeting, probably 15 guys and 10 ladies, mostly older.
Yeah.
There wasn't anybody your age. I think you were probably the youngest one there.
I think there was maybe one person around my age.
Okay.
But I just thought it was great. I think it's something that anybody can use and value. And what struck me the most was it's not often that you walk into a room full of people that were strangers to me and you instantly people are vulnerable and are talking from their heart and just opening up. And that was really refreshing.
That's what I used to, at the beginning of my journey, and I would go to these meetings, that was the only place I knew men to be vulnerable and maybe cry if they needed to, but I'd never seen that in my life before.
Yeah, I was shocked by the men too.
Yeah.
I think a lot of men struggle in general, and I don't mean to be stereotypical, but I think struggle in general just to have relationships and be that way.
Yeah, society tells them to be strong.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to admit a weakness is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that where I got that? You think it's from society?
Yeah, I think it's a message that's out there.
Advertising, subliminal, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, and I think it was a lot more so back in the day when I was younger than it is today. I mean, men are doing more feminine things, taking care of children more, and they become more feminized, but I still think I see that a lot when people come through treatment. It takes people a while to get used to talking about feelings. People that are using because they don't want to feel. They don't want to talk about feelings.
Yeah, I agree. And if you think about the greatest generation in World War II people, many of them will never talk about their experiences.
Yeah.
As you're growing up as a boy, your father tends to say, "Stop crying. Men don't cry." That kind of thing. And so that's part of your learning. Your environment is telling you not to have feelings and to be tough it out.
See, I heard that, but I don't think I ever heard it directed at me. I mean, my father was not the kind of man that would say, "Oh, toughen up, baby. You don't cry." I got it in advertising and movies and stuff like that, but
I got it as a woman in my family.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Be tough.
Not supposed to cry and
No,
be tough. And,
yeah.
So you found the men vulnerable.
Yes, I found everyone to seem vulnerable and just open.
Okay. And do you remember the comment you made to me when we got in the car to leave? You said everybody
can
could
use
benefit
that.
this.
Yes.
Yeah. I've said that for so long. It's the reason we're doing this show out loud today.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there is a workbook for common people. In fact, at our church, Pastor Richard used to teach it for common people to go through the 12 steps.
What's it called? Do you remember?
Something close to that. I don't know.
12 steps for common people?
Could be.
Well, I know that when I've taken the time to share the 12 steps with groups of men at Hope, the church I go to, they are always happy that they walk through that because they learned that.
We went through it with our small group
Yeah.
a couple years ago because they asked us to go through it. And then they were so excited until we got to the 4th step. And then it was like, whoa, I don't know if we really want to do this.
So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to begin to read what we call How It Works. And this is chapter 5 in the big book. And I've probably heard this read, in 5 years. What do you think? 1,500 times?
Yeah.
It's before almost every meeting. This is read. So a newcomer can understand what's going on. And in the meeting that I go to on Mondays, we don't read this. So I gave the book to Tracy so she could read this. So, and I'll stop from time to time and unpack some of this stuff. It starts like this. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has not thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. All right, I want to stop there. Lila, what is constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves? Well, what is that? Is that a mental?
Yes, there are some people that no matter what you've done, what you've said to them, how many times they've been through treatment or whatever, they cannot be honest with themselves. And they're constantly minimizing drinking or making up excuses, whatever. It's just they hear the words, but when it's applied to them, they start making up excuses as to why it doesn't work for them.
Now, is that just when it comes to their drinking, or is that their matter of life? Do they live life that way? Do they always tell the person asking the question what they want to hear so they're not confronted with someone who says, well, I don't like that?
I think they go hand in hand. If you're not being honest in your real life, your chances are then, outside of the program, chances are you're not being honest in the program either.
All right. It goes on. There are such unfortunates. Those are the people who can't constitutionally be honest with themselves. There are unfortunates, but they are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty.
Have you ever run across in the program, there are some people that, you just try and try and try and try to get them to understand this. And I can't tell you how many times I've had to repeat those couple sentences to myself. They must be those people that they're talking about that just can't get it.
See, when I first heard that, and I guess if I'm going to be rigorously honest, I might hear it this way every time I hear it. That's kind of a dig.
I don't see it that way at all.
There are such unfortunates. They're not at fault, though. They seem to have been born that way. They're naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. They can't do it.
Now, when I hear it, I feel sorry for them because of all the people I've worked with that I know are trying and they can't get it. There aren't that many, but there are some.
But they are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. Isn't that Dr. Bob's way of just saying this program isn't for everybody?
It's like him saying, we don't have answers for all of this.
Okay.
Because I don't think, even in today's time, and it was 75 years ago, in today's time, we don't really know that much more about the brain than we did back then. So
Okay.
there are a lot of brain things going on that we can't understand. So it's easier just to put them in that category because we don't have the answer for it right now.
Robert?
Well, I wonder if it's a matter of, and I'm just going to throw this out there, but pride in an individual, unwillingness to show a weakness, or even to portray that there's an imperfection within an individual, within oneself. Just curious. I'm just saying, throwing it out there.
Well, I think there is a category for those people, but I wouldn't put the people that don't get it, I wouldn't put them all in that category.
So you're saying that it's not a choice to not get it. You're saying that
For
they're
some people,
psychologically unable to
yeah,
get it.
I think the
just
book
think
says
that's
that
true.
next, right? In the next sentence, I think
Yeah.
it says there's mental
Their chances
challenges.
are less than average. There are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest.
Right.
Now, the older man that I sponsored for a while, who passed away, would that be him?
Yes.
They can't constitutionally
Well-
be honest. They're incapable of grasping and to develop a manner of living which demands that level of honesty.
I think it would be more what Bob was talking about, the pride thing in
Okay.
maybe him.
Okay. I know there's such a thing as, what is it, habitual liars?
Yeah, a lot of people who come to the program
Why are you laughing?
because they're all liars when they come into the program.
Yeah, that's true.
And it takes a while to. My husband used to say there was no reason to lie, but he did it anyway, and it just took him a while to get used to not lying.
Being rigorously honest.
Like for dumb stuff,
Yeah.
not lying just about his drinking, but just you know, dumb stuff.
Yeah. All right. So there are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders. Many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. All right. And see, I'm one that always struck me because I'm a guy who suffers from a mental disorder. In fact, my sponsor, who is also my psychiatrist, used to tell me that don't be so heavy into whether you're an alcoholic or not. Mm-hmm. Okay, work more on the processes of the program, not the labels of the program.
That I can't tell you in the last 3 or 4 months. It's like I'm telling so many people that because they get hung up on the actual drinking or if they relapse, and it's like, no, there's some mental issues here that we need to pay attention to more than if you took a drink to relieve yourself for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, let's take a break. This is Restoring Hope Recovery Monday, brought to you by the good folks at Powell CDC. We appreciate you taking the time to listen. By the way, we are now officially at full power. 99.3 The Truth is now covering all of Central Iowa. And if you're new to the station, welcome. Welcome. We've been praying for you. We're live on The Truth.
mother who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Hi, I'm J. Michael McCoy, and about 20 years ago, I went to a used car salesman by the name of John Hewitt. He had a little shop over there on North 2nd Avenue called John's Auto Sales, and I bought a car. I found that experience to be one that I had never had before from a used car salesman. He was honest, he was dependable, he had integrity, and he did what he said he was going to do. Well, over the years, between my kids and grandkids, I've purchased 7 vehicles from John's Auto Sales. And last month, I asked him to be a sponsor. I can tell you about their huge selection. I can tell you about their years of experience. I can tell you about their honest integrity. But all I really need to tell you is that I bought 7 cars, and you can trust them. John's Auto Sales, 5435 2nd Avenue, Des Moines.
You need a good ride when you hit the trail. Trust the man with the cars, and he goes by the name of Big John. Big John. Big John.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope.
21 minutes after the hour of 2 o'clock on this 29th day of June in the Lord's year 2015, I have to tell you something I just thought about. I'm a radio guy, all right, and so I don't think about the if you're listening to this on the radio, this is an audio-driven, passionate radio program. If you watch it on the web, yes, I said watch, we have cameras, and they're not here to do anything fancy other than just to show you what people look like. And you know, we don't really do any visual stuff because I don't want anybody listening on the radio to lose it because I'm a radio guy. But I find now with this camera setup that I when I know the camera's on, I have this smile on my face. And I don't usually smile on the radio, but I smile. Anyway, need to go to the dentist. All right, Tracy K is in today, along with Lila and Bob and Ryan back home from vacation. Hey, Ryan, you know what the sign of somebody, you don't have to answer, but you know what the sign of doing a good job is? That your replacement that you trained, we didn't miss you.
Oh.
So she did a great job.
She did.
And she's like 9.5 months pregnant.
Yeah.
But you did a good job with her because it was great. So anyway.
But I missed you.
Yeah, we did miss you. So Tracy, who is part of the team here at KTIA and Webcast One Live, I don't hide it from people that I'm in AA. I just don't. I'm just one of those people that don't hide it. I think that every time I tell somebody that I'm in AA or I'm in a 12-step program or whatever it is, I'm an alcoholic, that it leads me, it leads them to maybe be honest with me about somebody in their family. And I know that I carry my chip, my coin, whatever you want to call it, on my money clip. And so whenever I pay for something, I take that chip out and lay it on the counter. And most usually, I get questions about it. And there's been twice when that's led people to introduce me to somebody, and they've come to meetings.
Cool.
Or no, 3 times that's happened. 2 of those people are still coming. Now, I'm not sponsoring them, but that doesn't matter. But so I tell people. And so Tracy, who has known me for several years, we were going to spend the day together working on some stuff here at the radio station. And I said, well, I got to go to a meeting, a 12-step meeting at noon. She said, well, I'll go. And so you went to your first meeting today.
I did.
Wasn't what you thought it would be.
No.
What did you think? What did you think it was?
I don't know. You picture movies and like there's a stigma, or I was nervous. It was not what I expected. It was just this loving group of people. And I said when we left, those are just the nicest people.
Yeah.
Like, you feel welcome, and it's warm and comfortable. And I just pictured like a movie. Like, and Mac, I think, said it in the car, like brown paper bags and like seediness or darkness or something.
That was how I always pictured. I thought it was a bunch of dirty old men in a room, just in the room would smell and stuff. And and I do go to a meeting up at the lake that kind of reminds me of that. And it took me a while to get used to. I'm usually the only woman at the meeting.
Yeah.
But I love every single one of those guys, and I would never know them otherwise if it wasn't for that meeting.
Yeah, think of the people that we get to share our lives with, that we were brought together by, or the thing that we have in common is alcohol.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's what brings us together. I think it's a higher power than that brings us together. But and when we were going to the meeting, I told Tracy, I said, I'm not going to tell you about the meeting. They'll ask if there anybody at their very first meeting, and just say, hi, my name is Tracy, and I'm here to support my friend Mac. And then if it comes around to you, if you choose to comment, you can. But I didn't tell her anything else. So she had kind of a pure path to watch this.
Well, for our listeners, I just want to say there are open and closed meetings.
Right.
And so the meeting you went to today was an open meeting,
Correct.
which means that she could come. But there are some closed ones, which means that you have to be an alcoholic to go, or if you go to an NA meeting, a druggie or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I got introduced to alcohol, AA, a 12-step program, because I thought there's no way I can do this. There's no way J. Michael McCoy can be an alcoholic. I own bars, restaurants, radio stations. It'll destroy me. Mm-hmm. And the very first meeting that I was taken to was a meeting put together by some men who brought guys that were in radio, television, attorneys, legal, business people, and I was just floored.
Yeah.
And one guy came up to me and gave me a big hug, and he looked at me and he said, I've been waiting for you. Mm-hmm. And he said, and I asked him a couple of years later, tell me what that means. Well, you know the actions of someone who is addicted to alcohol or drugs. They're the isms, right?
Yeah.
We call them the isms. All right, I have no idea what Frank could possibly have to offer on this subject, but he's on the phone, so we're going to talk to Frank. I want to see. Frank, you're live on the radio. How are you?
Good. Mac, you were talking a few minutes earlier about people who don't want to take responsibility for their actions.
Yes.
Do you know that the Bible says that every man is implanted with a moral compass?
Yes, I know that.
Okay, well, I was just checking because some people may not believe we have this moral compass, and I would tell you that it's almost impossible to chart an uncharted ocean without a compass, and God gives each man a moral compass. So this idea that some people aren't responsible for their actions is a bunch of baloney. And I can give you the verse that will tell you. Obviously, they call me the verse because I always have the verse ready.
He does.
And the verse that tells you that man has a moral compass is Genesis 3:14 and 15. And the Lord said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all the cattle and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly they shall go, and dust shalt thou eat the days of thy life. And I will put enmity, keyword enmity, between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel.
And that's the moral compass.
The moral compass is enmity. In other words, prior to that, man would have been totally depraved to follow Satan, lock, stock, and barrel with horse blinders on. When Christ come in and placed Satan and the serpent as natural enemies to the woman, and he said, between thy seed and his seed, that means that every human being born from Adam and Eve was given a moral compass and decision-making opportunity if heeded. Now, the key is here, if heeded. Now, there's a lot of people who won't heed that implanted moral compass, but it's there, and if heeded, it will guide you to make moral decisions between right and wrong.
But what if, Frank, one in those times when someone has a mental challenge or something wrong that blocks that compass?
Well, I'm not saying after all these years of sinful issues that there may be some people that they claim are born without a conscience. Ted Bundy was supposedly, the serial killer was supposed to be one of these type of people that had no conscience. But only God is going to know that. As a human being, we're not going to be able to decipher that. We're just told that all men are given this. Now, if somebody can make the excuse that they never had one, that's up to God whether to decide whether they did or they didn't, because there's no way for a human being to decide that. We can psychoanalyze them, psychobabble them to death, but there's no way to prove, there's no way to, in essence, to prove a negative.
Well, here's what I think about that. There are people that have been out there using drugs and drinking and been off course for so long that they've lost sight of their own moral compass. They don't know where it is. And it's very important once they come into a program, a 12-step program, that they run with the people who are sticking to this program, because this program is like your moral compass. It will guide you back to where you need to be. But it's very important to stick around those kinds of people that are dedicated to this, that want to lead that kind of life. If you stick around your old people, you're going to be behaving the way you used to.
Yeah.
Well, I wholeheartedly agree with you on that statement. But here's the problem, and Mac and I went a couple rounds on this on Facebook. But this is where I get into the area of calling things diseases. We have to be, as human beings, responsible for the choices we make. Our lives are basically made up of decisions and choices we've made. So when you start calling things a disease, everybody's going to feel sorry for someone who's sick, someone who's born handicapped, somebody that's born. So when you start labeling things as diseases, it kind of is a connotation that you're taking away from the personal responsibility of it.
No, it depends. Well, I'm not going to argue about that, but it depends on how it's presented to them. Just because it's labeled a disease does not take the responsibility away from the person at all.
And Frank, you can also, and I appreciate you calling, a lot of times I hear it called an allergy. And whether it's no matter what we may think it is, the American Medical Society says it's a disease. It is something genetic. You can get it from your being passed down through your family. Bob, we've talked many times about how it was rampant in your family, and you chose not to drink because you saw the actions that alcohol made people in your life, including your own father and his brother, take.
Yeah, correct. That I chose not to go that route, though I felt like there was certainly a possibility that all three kids in our family, my older brother and sister, we could have gone the same route, but none of us did.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times we watch it skip a generation, too.
I was just going to say, are there any problems with any of the other, with all of your children, any of them?
No problems.
Yeah?
No.
Well, and then there's people like my family who's gone through generations.
Yeah, that's the same with mine on both sides. Generation after generation after generation.
But you can stop, that's what my husband and it comes from my husband's family and my family, and we both said this is where it's stopping right here, and then it takes 4 generations to get out of the
4 generations?
Yeah.
So when your granddaughter has a daughter or son, they should have it should have been removed genetically.
Yeah.
Because you're generation 1, your daughter's 2, your granddaughter's 3, and then your great-granddaughter will be 4th. Okay. Well, that's good to know. All right, this is Recovery Monday, brought to you by the good folks at Powell CDC. Remember that when you run into that person in your life that has that alcohol or drug issue, you know who they are. Their name is in your head right now. You may not want to say it out loud. Perhaps you've given up on them. I don't blame you. Perhaps you don't even want to have them in your life anymore. I don't blame you there either. We're really tough people to deal with. We're broken. We're busted. We are, as this book said, sometimes constitutionally incapable of being honest with ourselves and the ones around us. Well, the good news is now you have someone you can call. You can call me. You can call Lila. You can call Bob. We're here. We understand this disease. We understand how it makes people react. Bob, I don't know if you know this, but Bob is a forensic scientist and has spent his entire career of 35 years focusing on alcohol and what it does to the body. He is one of the most sought-after experts to testify at trials where alcohol is involved. Lila has spent her entire life seeking sobriety, and now living with it day by day. She shares it with other people. So you know someone you can call. You don't have that excuse anymore. Isn't that good news? That God has brought you somebody into your life that you can trust and you can call on. Okay, we're coming back. We'll continue on how it works live here on The Truth.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're gonna make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
Open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope.
22 minutes before the top of the hour, this, the 29th day of June in the Lord's year 2015. I'm J. Michael McCoy. Top of the hour, 3 o'clock, Salem Radio Network News will update us on today's events. And then at 3:03, it's the Steve Deace. Back on the radio, an afternoon drive right here on 99.3 The Truth. Today we are on Recovery Monday, brought to you by Powell CDC. And Tracy Kay is here. Tracy's a part of our radio station. And this morning I took her to her very first AA meeting. She doesn't have a drinking issue, but it was a curiosity of hers. So I took her to our first meeting. And what'd you think?
I thought it was great. I was happy I went.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Keep coming back. It works if you work it.
I heard that somewhere.
And so before the meeting started, I had her read how it works, which is on chapter 5, page 58 of the Big Book. The Big Book is the Bible for 12-step programs. And we're kind of unpacking this. So we continue after saying that, rarely have we seen a person fail who followed our path, but there are some people who can't. They're unconstitutionally, they can't be honest with themselves. Maybe they also suffer from a grave emotional and mental disorder. There's many reasons people drink. It's not all just because it's a disease or an allergy. Sometimes it's because they don't understand what it's doing to them. I didn't understand what it did to me. I had no idea. So what if I drink? What's the big deal?
I think it takes being in the program for about 2 or 3 years before your head's really clear and you can see what it was doing to you.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, because, and we're going to read the steps in a minute, but I've done my fourth step now, and completely different than the first one.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. All right, so it goes on. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we're like now, which is the format we follow on this show when we have a guest. What your life was like, what happened, and what your life is like now. If you have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps. At some of these, we balked. We thought we could find an easier, softer way, and that's a term that we use in 12-step program that, well, that's fine. Go ahead, try that easier, softer way. But we could not. With all the earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the start. Some of us have tried to hold on to old ideas, and the result was nil until we absolutely let go. Now, the next statement is the one that just, every time I hear it, it cuts me clean. Remember that we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, and powerful. Who does that describe? Cunning, baffling, and powerful.
Satan.
You want a name?
Yeah. What did you say, Tracy?
Satan.
Oh, I thought you were talking about somebody. I thought it was a political question.
No, I'm sorry. I think that describes Satan to a T. Cunning, baffling, and powerful. Without help, it is too much for us. But there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Now, guys, just unpack those 4 lines with me for just a second. So I tell you that I think it sounds exactly like the accuser. Remember that we deal with alcohol. Let's just say, remember we deal with the devil. Cunning, baffling, and powerful. Without help, he is too much for us. But there is one who has all power. That one is God.
I wish it was written that way. I think it would, because that, to me, when you just read it, was more powerful than not naming him.
Yeah.
And that's why everybody could use it.
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly can use that.
Yeah.
Everybody can.
It's just, I mean, I know man invented alcohol. I understand that long before, whatever. But I do wish I wish it was like you just said. I wish it said, remember, we all deal with the devil or evil. Even if you didn't want to make it religious, you could say evil.
Yeah.
Cunning, baffling, powerful, without help, he is too much for us. But there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Another term we use a lot in 12 Steps is half measures availed us nothing. What are half measures?
Well, it's what a lot of people who come through the doors want to do at first. They really don't want to, they want to do it halfway.
Yeah.
I don't want to give all of myself to this. I just want to try a little bit of it. I don't want to give up totally. I don't want to give up all the drinking. But maybe if you tried a million different ways. You tried drinking another kind of drink. You tried drinking half of it, whatever, and it never works. Half measures.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I've heard somebody say, yeah, I thought I'd come to a 12-step program and learn how to drink properly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hundreds of times. Half measures avail us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Here are the steps we took, which are what, Lila? Suggested as a program of recovery. Suggested. They don't tell you this is the only way.
Because they know alcoholics. They know alcoholics. You don't tell them anything.
Yeah.
They'll reject it. So
we're just suggesting.
Yeah.
Step 1, we admitted we are powerless over alcohol and our lives had become unmanageable. I want you to just note that what I read said that we are powerless over alcohol. Feel free to fill in that word with anything else. We are powerless over hate. We are powerless over anger. We are powerless over jealousy. We are powerless over resentments. And our lives had become unmanageable. Number 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And then number 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God. And many of us out there balk when we hear the next line, but understand it is one of the most powerful lines that we have in the beginning of recovery. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understand him. Because many times people are flying in that door and they're blaming God, they're mad at God. And if I try to tell you who, because the first thing they're going to say is, well, who's God? My God? Your God? Who's God? We don't want to debate that. It's the God of your understanding. Then you make a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being, the exact natures of our wrong. You're entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character, and then you humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. I just gave you step 4, 5, 6, and 7 pretty quick, but the one that makes people stop is made a decision to turn our will and our... No, I'm sorry. It's to make a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. We got about a minute before the break. Tell me about a 4th step sheet.
Well, there's a million different ways you can do it, but in the big book, it's suggested, and then there are these old timers, I don't even think they're alive anymore, called Joe and Charlie.
Yeah, no, they're not alive.
And they made up these sheets where you look at fear. There's 4 different things that you look at, but you're looking at 4 different areas in your life at great extent. I mean, you're really diving deep into it.
Yeah.
And your fears, your sexual harms is one other one. And write about those. Well, the sheets that they have, you just kind of check what it is. But when I sponsor people, I make them write about it because I think you need to write and get it out.
Yeah.
Because when you're writing, you're using another part of your brain than you are when you're just talking with somebody. So, but there's a million different ways of doing this 4th step, but that's one of them. Sometimes people will just have you just plain write. Just write down everything you can think of that you've ever done, but ever done to other people that you regret.
Yeah. All right, when we come back, the last segment, we'll run through the rest of the steps, and Why do we do this? We do this because you know somebody that needs help, and we're trying to make you comfortable with us. We're trying to get you to belly up to the bar and say, hey, I need help. My husband needs help. My child needs help. We do this to help you.
A father who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids? Yeah!
If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope.
All right, 10 minutes for the top of the hour. Salem Radio Network News at the top, and then the Steve Deace live and afternoon drive again here in the Metro, courtesy of The Truth, 99.3. We're running through the 12 steps today, and after you figure out how screwed up you are, then you are entirely ready to have God remove all this messed up stuff you've done and humbly ask you to remove your shortcomings. That's halfway through. Mm-hmm. The next thing is you have to make a list of all people you had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Now, remember, it says became willing. When I have had the few sponsorees that I've had, I've said, don't look at 9. Just read 8. 8 is make a list. Don't look at 9 that you get to make direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. And remember that carefully. There are many amends. There are a few amends that my sponsor said, you're not making that one because that'll hurt that other person.
Yeah. This is when it's a good idea to have a sponsor, because you've heard me say this before at meetings. I wanted to go to all my old boyfriends and make sure that they still like me.
Yeah.
You know, and say I was sorry that I dropped them or any of that, just so they could say, oh, I still love you. You know, and it was like, that was all about my ego.
Yep.
Had nothing to do with, really being sorry for what I...
Well, and making amends is just that. It's mending it. It's making amends.
Changing your behavior.
Yeah, I'm sorry doesn't cut it, because they probably have heard I'm sorry from you dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and, well, you get the idea. So I'm sorry doesn't cut it. I want to mend our relationship. I want to mend it. I want it to heal. I want us to grow. Now, perhaps you're never going to want to see me again, but the opportunity to make an amend to someone that you know you've done wrong is a wonderful gift.
Well,
it's a
and
wonderful
sometimes,
gift.
though, you've heard me say this, too, is that it took me 3 years before I could say an amends to my husband's ex-wife.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to say it until I really meant it, until I was going to change my ways, or that I could even see what part I had in it.
Yeah, and by the way, when you make an amend, you can't say, I'm going to change my ways. I should never have done this, and I apologize. But if you wouldn't have done this or said this, you got to stay on your side of the street. You got to do that.
That's why it took me 3 years.
Yeah.
With counseling.
I have a question on that. Is that only when you were an alcoholic?
No.
Oh, no.
No.
Okay, so everything even before all that.
Absolutely. In fact, I had most of my amends came from before I started drinking.
Okay.
Because I had all the isms. I just didn't have the alcohol. So you make amends, then you continue to take personal inventory, and when you were wrong, how? Promptly admitted it. And if you want another word for that, it means that fresh crow is easier to eat than old crow.
My children were so surprised. I mean, when I really learned this and did it, my kids were so surprised because I remember treating somebody at a store wrong and then taking my kids with me back there to say that I was wrong and I shouldn't have acted that way. And they were so proud of me because they were shocked that I was talking to someone that way.
Yeah. But it does. And for me, it's the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit gently reminds me when I've done that. Because a lot of times probably not so much anymore, but boy, in the beginning, I was eating a lot of fresh crow. Oh, I just did that again, didn't I? I just said it that way. I had that tone. I blamed you, et cetera, et cetera. 10, 11, and 12 are real important. Continue to take, or I just said that. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. That's huge. Huge. And then the 12th is having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps. We tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all of our affairs.
Now, the problem comes is that when you first get into the program, people say, you're so excited and everything's working well in your life and you just want to go right to 12 and start telling everybody about it. And you ought to join this. It's so cool.
Yeah, and everybody does it.
Yeah.
To wrap up the reading of how it works, it goes on to say, many of us exclaimed, what an order, I can't go through with it. Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We are not saints. The point is that we are willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles we have set down are guides to progress. And I love the next line. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Our description of the alcoholic, the chapter of the agnostic, and our personal adventures before and after make clear 3 pertinent ideas. 1, we were alcoholic and could not manage our lives. B, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. And C, that God could and would if He were sought. Powerful, 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 powerful. So those are, that's how it works. And I know that sounds rather, if you've never heard that before, I know you probably think, well, that's kind of arrogant of you, Mac, to say that that's how it works. That's the title of this, How It Works. It's the title of Chapter 5.
But to think that can change your life, I remember seeing those written and thinking that isn't going to change my life.
Yeah.
But when you actually do what is suggested, you grow up.
Yeah. You grow up and you put your big boy pants or big girl pants on, and you recognize that you truly do have a God, the God, that when you surrender to Him, that it's the best thing you've ever done in your life. Because we grow up thinking that surrendering is a bad thing. Play Cowboys and Indians or Cops and Robbers or whatever video games kids play nowadays. Surrendering is giving up. Yes, it is. It's giving up the fact that you think you know how to run your life better than the guy who created you. Have you ever looked at your kid and said, listen, I made you, I can take you out. I brought you into this world, I can take you out. Well, I think that's what God is saying to someone when they get to the point where the alcohol is ruining their lives and their lives have become unmanageable. God says, I made you, I can break you. I brought you into this world, I can take you out. Now, either follow my will or get ready for something I would never pray for you. All right, you're going on vacation.
Yes. Yeah. A couple. Well, I'm going to a million different places this summer, but the next 2 Mondays I'll be at the lake.
Yeah, and Kim Brangoscio will be here.
Yes.
And Bob, thank you for being here. We'll see you later in the week. Tracy, what'd you learn?
I learned that Alcoholics Anonymous is for everyone.
There you go. Ryan, nice to have you back. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. Love this job more than ever, and I couldn't do it without you. Okay, it's Monday. Did you do it over the weekend? I asked you to do it over the weekend. I asked you to think of somebody you needed to forgive, somebody you carry a resentment against. I ask you to forgive that person, because as you forgive, what does the Lord's Prayer tell us? Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. So as you forgive, you shall be forgiven. I'll see you in church.
Restoring hope.